Are you pulling your hair out because your students can't keep a steady beat? Would you love to have them playing duets in your studio, but you don't know exactly how to pull it off? Stick with me, because I bet there's at least one trick that I have that will work and transform your studio. I'd like to share with you what I shared in the MTNA convention about pre-ensemble strategies. But before I do, let's talk about this kid who really wants to play for Elise. Cohen came to me and he could not wait to play for Elise. Do you want to know how I knew? I will tell you exactly how I knew. It was a big clue when he would go to the piano and he would start playing. And he was all over the place with his rhythm, with his beat, and he was very determined. So I said, Cohen, let's play a duet together and then you will learn how to play for Elise. So I created a duet for him, used some of these ensemble strategies, and he was able to play at his school talent show, completely happy kid. So let's go back to sharing about our strategies for ensembles. Why do we need pre-ensemble strategies? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Orff at the piano. Also, can you write your own ensemble? Yes, I will show you in 3 easy steps. And what is visual and aural cueing? Why pre-ensemble skills? Well, students need to learn steady beat. If students are using simple patterns, there is less stress on their nervous system and they learn more easily. Students can play a teacher part and the teacher plays the student part. And kids can be prepared easily for duets and trios. Why don't we just play the teacher-student duets? I have had mixed results from teacher-student duets. I'll raise my hand and say it's my fault because I am an accompanist. And so I will automatically follow the student. If they skip a beat, I skip a beat. If they don't repeat, I don't repeat. If they skip a measure or speed up, so do I. Now what ends up happening is that they are a soloist and I am their accompanist instead of being a duet partner. And that's what we want. We want to train duet partners, ensemble players in a fine way. Some students are just not prepared when that teacher-student duet shows up. They are not prepared in their physical bodies with steady beat. And then lastly, we are assuming that they can keep a steady beat and listen to accompaniment. I can't tell you how many times that I have played those accompaniments and the student has stopped and looked at me like, what are you playing? They don't know how to listen to it. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to create a little bridge for them to get where they are to where they need to be. And here's how we're going to do it. We're going to simplify the harmony, keep it short, use equal parts, and here is the secret sauce. Natural movement, even at the piano. But first, let's talk about off-bench movements for young kids. When I was a teacher in the elementary music classroom, we learned that clapping was one of the hardest things because we go from outside our body inward. And patching, where we take 2 hands and we drop them on our legs with a steady beat or with rhythm is so much easier. So I will start with patching on legs and do that for a long time. Then I'll move to left, right, left, right. You could also do right, left, right, various combinations. Then I will go to clapping and then marching. I recommend this sequence. And if you will start at the top and go to the bottom with your students, you will have much success. But that's not all. What we need to do is to take those off-bench movements and take them to the piano. So an Orff instrument has bars that we can remove and we can highlight certain notes, C and G, for example. If you are a person who can put an eraser or a temporary sticky note on your keys, that is even more helpful. But say your student does not need that. Show them where to go and have them do 2 fingers, either finger 2 or finger 3, and they will play the open 5th and patch it. I'll show you this in just a minute. They can also progress from that to left, right, a tick-tock pattern, or they can do a crossover pattern. So let me show an example of what I mean at my piano, because I'm going to use a natural movement and create some harmony. And it could be as easy as hot cross buns. So I play hot cross buns with my students on the black keys. So with my accompaniment, I'll play. Or I'll play it here. Now your student can do that. Let me put it in my left hand, but your student could use 2 hands if they wanted. Or if they get really fancy, rest. This is a beautiful way to teach that crossover motion that we need for our students later. But say you have a student who can't do that, then a single bass line is accessible to special needs kids. It's accessible to parents, siblings, everybody. So those are some different options for you to think about. Just do them a little bit at a time in every lesson, and then pretty soon students will be able to really get that steady beat and to hear the accompaniment. What are Orff instruments? In the music classroom, there are 3 basic types. Bass, which usually plays those long notes I just demonstrated. The alto instruments, which play the ostinato 5ths or tick-tock patterns, different rhythmic variations, or the soprano instruments, which play the melody. Orff at the piano. Now we're going to get into how we can use the piano to arrange our ensembles for our students. And I have to attribute this understanding to not only my Orff experience, but to Bradley Soash and the late Forrest Kinney. These are 3 regions of the piano. The bass line fits very well below cow C. The middle part of our instrument cow C to a little above middle C. It's not a science. That's where these ostinati fit in, the open fifth that follow the harmony. And then above that, the soprano is the melody. You can have 3 kids at one piano, and that makes it so enriching. So if you want to have your very own ensemble, you can just make this up on the fly whenever you get really comfortable with it. But if you want to write it down, there are 3 steps. Notate the melody, notate the bass according to the harmony, and decide on the middle part. So let's start about step 1, notate melody. You can totally teach this by rote. I've put it here close to middle C. You could write it in pre-reading notation, alpha notes, or simply just alphabet letters. So I notate it here, but the pianist will play it at least 1 octave higher, maybe 2. So this is our melody. Step 2 would be our bass line. Now I have written this out for you guys to see where it would be played on the piano. But more normally for students, I would write it either around middle C or the octave below middle C, and then they would play it lower. Use 1 and 5 a lot. Teach it by rote. Point to parents if they're in the ensemble and they're playing this part. Give them a little cueing, and that will be a lot of help for them. The middle part, open fifths. If the melody is moving, then the middle part and the bass are rather long and still, and vice versa. If the melody has some long notes, you can put in some more moving rhythm in the middle part, in the ostinati. Now notice measure 3. Measure 3 could be difficult for some kids to move positions. So if it is, just tell them to leave out the D and only play the G. There are always modifications to be made. You might be thinking, this breaks voice leading rules, and you are correct. You might be thinking, this is not the most musically pleasing harmony, and you are also correct. That is not the point. The point is we are training our students to be ensemble players, and this is part of their training. Let me just go to the piano, and I'm going to play a little of Mary's Lamb for you, best I can, to give you an example of what it would sound like. So our melody, if I were to play that with the bass line, it would be like this. All right. Now if I were to put in the middle part, it would go like this. Of variations. Now let's go back to the slides and talk about what we can do besides these simple parts, because there are other things we can do. Our point is that we're training. We're doing parts that are pattern based. Every kid, no matter what their level, has a shot at playing. We can add and subtract parts. We can even write an obligato or have a student compose one. I want to talk about visual cues. When my daughter was in orchestra, I learned that the kids on the first row watch the concertmaster as much or more than they watch the conductor. Why? Because they not only have to know the bowing, but they have to know the speed of the bowing, and it all needs to match. So there are visual cues we can do at the piano. For example, I just put my fingers in the middle of an ensemble and say, watch me, and have them imitate me as I start and stop. If you have a student who is really a strong player, have the other people at their piano watch them for the beat. Each piano could have a leader if you are in a multi-piano situation, and then you can add on teacher or student directors and conductors. There are also aural cues, counting off in tempo, and I'll show you an example in just a minute. Counting off in tempo, listening to drums and rhythm sticks that I will add in, even backing tracks, accompaniments. Don't forget the sniff that we can borrow from our chamber music friends. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, we can evolve to and sniff in time. We do have to train children to start and stop together. I don't know how many students I've had that go to the piano and they say, 3, 2, 1, go, and then they play in a different speed. We have to teach them to start and stop. So this video I'm going to show you is an example of starting and stopping. In this video, I am modeling, but right after this video happened, we all traded places and each student had an opportunity to be the leader.
This table count off. 1, 2, wait a minute, stop till we get ready. 1, 2, ready, play. I can march 2, 3, 2, 3. Oh, and then we stop. Okay.
That is my funny student who just said, I was just making an ending. What we get when we teach this way are confident, joyful collaborators. It's not an afterthought, it's a core experience of their learning. If you think about it, there's a lot of piano solo literature, but there is a lot of ensemble music out there. And if we train kids from the beginning, they will have a wonderful experience. I hope you take the opportunity to give all kids musical teamwork, include your family, and have fun. And if you would like to dive just a tiny bit deeper, I have a freebie for you. It is a free duet, and along with it, a little more training, and you can try it out yourself. This will give you more confidence in ensemble playing, in teaching, and it will give you more confidence in writing your own ensembles. So check out the description below where you can get that duet and you can have some more fun with your students.